Looks like we're about ready to go. Wouldn't want that thing prematurely going off, you know. We are moments away from the grand finals here at Hearthstone's Grandmasters Global Finals here at BlizzCon 2019. And after 2 days of play, after months of qualification and years in the making, history is upon us. Who will be the first ever Hearthstone Grandmaster Global Champion? The answer begins now. Let's go ahead and introduce our two players that's going to be duking it out for $200,000 and the trophy. The first from China, the first woman to ever make it this far. Please give it up for VKLiooon! Listen to that crowd roar for Lion. And their opponents, hailing from the United States of America. It's a clash of East versus West. He's back for more. Please welcome from Lazarus Gaming, bloodyface! And that is it, our final two competitors. Shake hands one more time. Winner takes all. Let's get this grand finals underway.
Thank you, Frodan. I am here fully equipped with a microphone this time, and I'm joined once again by just saying, wait, wow, Gallon's here? How did this happen?
I don't know, I was just put up here.
Who let you on the finals? This can't fly, honestly. You looking forward to being in your more comfortable seat, though, just being smart, analyzing some video games?
The last series at the very end there, I managed to miss lethal while also trying to educate Hunter Ace on how to play Hearthstone. So yes, I'm very glad that I can now take his seat and tell people really how to play Hearthstone.
Let that be a lesson to you, Gallon. Always believe the world champion. Always believe the global champion, as this one will be, as we're about to crown a new one here. And what a final we have. Either way, what an incredible story this is going to be. Of course, Lion, incredible achievement. Trailblazer for her to be the first woman to make it to this level of a global stage and to have the opportunity to go down in history, just, you know, across a wide range of esports, let alone Hearthstone, you know, to be the global champion here. But also for bloodyface, obviously you're probably more in tune with the Americas scene than I am, but to me, kind of felt like bloodyface came out of nowhere a little bit last year and had this incredible year where he, you know, showed up, performed multiple championship events, made it to Worlds, great showing there, and now he's following that up again with the chance to become the global champion here.
You know, I actually have had the experience of playing against bloodyface quite a lot over the past several years. In 2016, we played at a spring playoffs in like round 2, and just seeing his performance where he went from pretty much a name no one recognizes to suddenly like one of the best in the Americas, if not in the entire world, as someone so good at Hearthstone, it's really cool to see. 2018 was his breakout performance, and he is capitalizing on that. He is showing people that he can do it again and again and again, and that is what the best players in the world do. They don't have one good performance. They have great performances year after year.
Very well put, and I think if anything is even more impressive to me about bloodyface is that he marches to the beat of his own drum while doing it. He's not part of any of like the hive mind practice groups. He really has his own opinion on things. He practices mostly with himself, you know, with a little bit of outside influence here and there, but really does have his own opinion, and he's his own man when it comes to deck building, lines of play, matchup decisions, everything like that as well.
Yeah. But I mean, Lion is on one of the most dominant tournament performances I have ever seen.
Yep.
She went 7-0 in the Gold Series finals to get here. She is currently 3-0, I believe, in the finals. That is a combined record of 10-0 over the last 10 tournament games. She is undefeated up to this point.
Yeah, and you know, this isn't just like a ladder streak. You know, you go 10-0 on ladder, you're like, okay, I'm pretty sick at Hearthstone. Like, Lion has done it through the very best players that China has to offer, and then come onto the world stage and done it against the very best that the world has to offer. She has one of the best players in Europe, Casey, already under her belt. And she's knocked off a previous world champion in Tom 60229 as well. Like, there is an incredible trail of bodies piling up behind Lion here, and I think she has played great to get to this position as well.
But the only player to actually have beaten a Chinese on this stage is bloodyface. bloodyface got a win versus Lee. Maybe he can do it versus Lion as well. He's the only player.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, you know, a big talking point in and of itself is that when we've come to this individual global stage, China has generally underperformed. We do have them as the current HGG champions, but in the singles competition, the representatives that they've sent here just have underperformed. They haven't lived up to expectations. So with a semi-finals position and now a finals position, with the chance to go one better, this is already the strongest performance from China that we've seen in a global final.
And we're going to see bloodyface on Druid in game 1 against Lion's Evolve Shaman. We saw that before last game. bloodyface took it.
Yeah, it was just a very dry draw, I think, from Lee's kind of side. He didn't get any of the big power plays. He didn't have 3-4 drops on the board on turn 3. He didn't get a big 8 drop to blow out the game. It was just Soul of the Forest here, a couple of tokens there, Soul of the Murlocs. I do that every time. One time, I'm going to get the name of that card right. Soul of the Murlocs to make a board of sticky 1/1s. But it's not enough. You need that big, high attack threat to really pressure Druid out of the game, right?
Yeah, and I mean, he just didn't have it. But again, that was a pretty low percentage outcome. You know, Spirit of the Frog alone can get that massive board that we were talking about. And if you just get the Desert Hare Evolve, if you actually draw the cards, they work really well together.
Yeah, and you know, obviously people complain probably about how much you see Desert Hare plus Evolve in the early game or Mogu plus Evolve in the early game, but it's a 2-card combination that players hard mulligan for, essentially. Like, you pretty much throw away just about every card in your hand that isn't Spirit of the Frog Evolve, or in some matchups Desert Hare if you want to keep that. So just, you know, mathematically, the percentage that you do hit that combo by turn 3, turn 4, turn 5 is actually extremely high. You know, you see it so often because it is so likely to happen when you mulligan correctly for it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the mark of these really powerful aggressive decks, is the fact that they have early game draw engines. I'm talking about Combo Priest with Northshire Cleric, Wild Pyromancer, Circle of Healing. I'm talking about Evolve Shaman with Spirit of the Frog and Chief spells like Zap, Mutate.
Spirit of the Frog has been found, though, for Lion, so she is now able to set out a game plan, has already picked up her first copy of Evolve, doesn't currently have any 0-mana options to go with the Frog on the follow-up turns. But this is the beauty of the Frog, is that her hand doesn't look that spectacular right now, but essentially every bad hand you can draw with this deck is fixed by Spirit of the Frog. That's just how powerful that card can be.
It also feels like a lot of bad hands with Evolve Shaman are just a single card away from being really fantastic. Right now, Lion is 1 card away, specifically Desert Hare away, from just having this massive tempo swing.
Right now, bloodyface just on 2 out of 4 on the quest, progressing through as expected, but very little to do this turn. Just a hero power, whiffing into the ether, smacking a taunt totem. Lion can find that big draw here. It's going to be huge punishment for bloodyface. Collective Breath
Desert Hare.
Who knew lions and bunny rabbits would be such good friends, Galen?
I think it's up to Lion. I imagine she's interested in zapping her Spirit of the Frog first. Getting another Evolve.
And you always play the one that you just drew. She throws out the quick prayer. I'm not even joking, it is actually important to play the one that you just drew in that situation.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. 3-4 is average stat line, so she's above that, and she also has potentially, I guess you would classify those as beneficial effects in the death rattles, even though they are not really going to have an impact on the game. But the spell damage from the Ogre Magi is a real thing with the copy of Lightning Bolt in hand.
I think the most important thing in this spot with that second Evolve is just having enough minions to survive, that they survive until the next turn. Generally, I think you're probably casting this next Evolve to just get as much tempo as possible. So as long as the minions survive a swipe, you're pretty happy.
Bloodyface doesn't really have any response to this, just throws out the Ferocious Howl and passes, and now the world is Lion's oyster this turn. Does have that one crystal overloaded, so Sea Giant is not an option here, but as Galen was suggesting, the second Evolve can be potentially powerful. Soul of the Murloc can come down alongside that as well. I did it. I said Murloc. I didn't say Forest. I'm so proud of myself. Sludge Slurper being able to be added to all of that as well.
You don't even have to go for an evolve here if you really want.
It's not actually a huge upgrade. Four mana minions are 3/4s on average, and then 5 mana minions is like 3.8, 4.7, which is obviously nonsense. You don't roll a 3.8, 4.7, but you can see like it's barely pushing that next full upgrade in terms of stat.
Already, Lion is just so far ahead from that second evolve. Bloodyface can play an Oasis Surger here, but it doesn't really accomplish anything. He gets to clear the 5/5 and the 4/5.
Sick.
That doesn't do anything.
Nope. Doesn't even reduce the board size. In fact, it adds to it for this Sea Giant that's in Lion's hand. But I mean, do you see an alternate path through this game, Gallon?
I see very few paths through this game, Sottle.
Okay.
Here's a 6/2 instead. It does limit a board a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's currently 15 damage represented on board, so I think Bloodyface did have to respect the idea of just taking maximum damage off the board here. Lightning Bolt in hand from Lion means that she has 18 total this turn, but that Sea Giant being dropped, 8 health minions are the absolute bane of Druid's existence.
In fact, I believe it was currently 1 off lethal right now.
Oh, Goblin Lackey as well, yeah. You are absolutely right. That is a long way from being active. The Zephyrus draw from Bloodyface.
Much better when you're 5 cards left in deck, not when you have 19.
Right. So Hidden Oasis here would take him up to 17, functional 23 with the 6/6 taunt on board. Doesn't look like it's ever going to be good enough. So Bloodyface does his due diligence, rips out the Nourish, does not find any magical solutions in his deck because there were none to that situation. So no great surprise. And you were talking about how the series you just got off casting, you kind of saw the anomaly of the Druid like being able to get through the power turns from the Shaman, because the power turns didn't really happen in that previous series that you cast. I think what we just watched there was a much more prototypical example of how that matchup goes.
Yeah, I mean, Druid is a deck that is going to struggle against any class that gets on board early. Nothing gets on board as early as Desert Hare Evolve, especially when you have those extra 4 drops in the form of Spear of the Frog or an extra Evolve because of that very good use of that zap on the Spirit of the Frog. So just great example of how to pilot the early turns. She managed to get to the second evolve, upgrades first, deals a lot of damage, upgrades again, then Soul of the Murloc.
Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah, very good.
And
well done.
There's really nothing the Quest Druid can do against that.
Right. I've always had this question. I had this question through basically every week of Grandmasters up until this point, where we kept seeing Druid get brought by just about every player. You know, 1 or 2 every week would leave it out. And then you start to look at the matchups. Like, it gets absolutely dumpstered by Priest, which is getting protected every series. The Shaman matchup really improved even before Desert Hare came into the deck. The Shaman match was being improved by people packing in Stormbringer, for example, to improve that matchup. So it felt like Druid didn't really have that many good matchups left, and yet it kept being brought week after week after week. I feel like that's a similar position here in this tournament as well. Why do so many people keep bringing Druid to tournaments like this?
Druid is just very powerful against the slower decks in the format, I believe. When you have stuff like, or even decks that just don't fight for board early. So stuff like Rogue, which could often be brought into this tournament. Rogue is a deck that targets Priest and Shaman. Druid hard farms Rogue. Warrior is a deck that has a pretty good matchup versus Priest and Shaman. Druid is a deck that hard farms Warrior.
It hurts my soul, Gallon, hearing the words Druid farms Rogue. Like, that's just not how Hearthstone's supposed to work. In fact, I'm so offended by that statement that I think we're going to have to take a break while I recover. We have plenty of this series left to go. Lion currently 1-0 up. Grand finals of the global finals. Do not go anywhere.
BlizzCon 2019 is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of BlizzCon. Facebook Gaming, a world of play. Samsung SSD, performance gamers trust. Corsair, do your thing. And by NVIDIA.
Well met, friend. Ooh, Let's get this over with. I win!
Oh, what an amazing game! Oh, well played!
Here's to the winner.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the finals of the global finals of Hearthstone Grandmasters here at BlizzCon 2019. Currently, Lion has the 1-0 lead over bloodyface, with her Shaman picking up the win in the opener against Druid. Still a very, very long way to go. If you've only just been tuning into day one and you've just joined us, worth knowing we are now playing best of 5 as we hit this elimination stage. There is still a long way to go in this series. I don't know about you, Gallon, but I think since we hit that switch to best of 5, like, we've engaged the NOS. Like, the series have got so much more intense since we've hit that best of 5 format.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of switches, we're actually going to see the players switch their decks. Bloodyface is going to be on Shaman, and Lion is going to be on Druid this series, which is the exact opposite of what happened last one.
Yeah, there is a couple of wrinkles in there, though, because Bloodyface is playing the Quest Shaman instead of the Token Shaman, and Lion is playing the Malagos Druid instead of the straight-up Quest Druid. So do you think those two changes have significant impacts on how the matches play out?
I think it has quite a big impact. I think Malagos Druid gets a little even worse against decks that fight for board early. The same can be said for Shaman, though. Shaman is not a deck that really fights for board as early as Evolve Shaman. Shaman is a deck that, or Quest Shaman is a deck that focuses on value in the late game. It still has that Desert Hare, Mogu Flesh Shaper Evolve, that early powerhouse, but it doesn't have the same draw engine in the form of Spirit of the Frog. So the Desert Hare Evolve becomes a little bit less consistent due to that. However, in the late game, it's just going to have another huge punch after punch with its Shutter Walks, with its Life Drinkers, with its Witchwood Pipers.
Yeah, I think, you know, the win condition against the two decks is very, very different, right? Because the The token deck, you can kind of just run out of stuff. You can exhaust the hand, you can beat a couple of waves, and then they're just left floundering. Quest Shaman never runs out of stuff. That doesn't happen. They are the value deck, so you do actually have to create swing turns and actually get ahead and kill them at certain points in the matchup. From Lion's perspective, she was able to navigate this Malagos Druid, which is a very, very difficult deck, extremely well in a matchup that it is built for, I will say, which is the Control Warrior. This is now a completely different kettle of fish. She now has to show that she can pilot the deck in an uphill battle against a matchup that it's not quite so equipped for, was not the targeted strategy that she had coming into this tournament.
And I think both players have pretty powerful hands right now. Bloodyface has what looks to be possibly a 3-keep. Questing Explorer is pretty much the best thing you can do on 2. And again, Desert Hair Evolve is just so powerful that keeping one part of the combo is still worth it. Even if you don't always hit it, the likelihood that you do leads to a lot more won games.
And I want to give you your dues here, Gallon, because you have a lot of wacky ideas. Your hit rate with these wacky ideas is not super high, but when you get one right, I'm going to give you credit for it. Gallon was the first person I ever heard say the words Desert Hair Evolve, and he did it as soon as the card list was out there. He just arrived to cast Grandmaster and he said, hey, you know what? Desert Hair Evolve. Before anyone else had even said it, this man saw the lines.
I remember that. I also thought that Astral Communion would be played in Quest Druid.
Yeah, shut up.
Shaku the Collector would see lots of play in Vendetta Rogue.
Just take the W. Just take the W.
No, I can keep going. I've got like 6 more failed ideas here.
You're sat in the smart chair now. I'm trying to make you sound smart. And you're really fighting back against it right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Coin quest from Lion. Shocked to discover. No, she's coining Crystal Merchant. Okay, I was about to say I'm shocked to discover that she's a coin quest gamer, because no one likes those. Everyone knows it's quest coin.
Of course it's the right
But coining the Crystal Merchant here, this is a created play that we don't often see in a lot of matchups. How do you feel about it?
I think for a deck like Malagos Druid, just pushing damage early when you can get it can matter. One of the things about going coin Crystal Merchant into quest is that if your game plan is quest pass into Crystal Merchant coin on turn 2, you're actually just missing 1 damage if the other person can never answer that Crystal Merchant.
Sure.
By going coin Crystal Merchant on turn 1, you can play quest turn 2, draw a card, complete one of the 4 things that you need to do to complete the quest, which is the exact same as if you went quest into Crystal Merchant coin on turn 2, but you just get to push 1 more free damage. So it's just optimizing how to play the game. Even it's just like this super marginal thing, which is 1 extra damage in the early game against a deck with stuff like Life Drinker to heal, it's still free to take. So I'm glad that she's optimizing even the smallest of percentages.
All right, so just so I understand what you're saying, are you arguing that this is like the default right way of doing it when you're on the coin and you have Crystal Merchant in hand?
Against Quest Shaman, I believe so.
Okay.
There are some decks where that's not always the case. I think if you're playing against, for example, a Vendetta Rogue, if you go coin Crystal Merchant on turn 1 into like a Swashbuckler, you leave yourself vulnerable to stuff like Vendetta.
Sure.
But against a deck that just can't answer it, which is pretty much Quest Shaman at this point, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Good to know. Lion now finds herself in a spot where Wrath would seem a little bit wasteful. Hero Power pretty much achieves the same thing here, minus the card draw. Wrath is an extremely powerful card against Quest Shaman in the mid-game, since they have just so many minions that just get so answered so perfectly for it, so many 3/3s and so on in the deck that are just great targets for it once Quest is activated.
Even then, saving the Wrath until after your own quest is completed also matters a lot. You just get to draw an extra card. So if you can avoid doing it until Osirian tier has been completed, that'll be huge.
Gallon with the quest name knowledge.
Corrupt the Waters gives you Heart of Vernal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You want to do the other 7 or?
No.
Okay.
How are they relevant?
Wow. All quests matter, okay, Gallon.
You've been talking to Frodan too much.
I mean, that's always true.
Behold,
Crystal Merchant number 2 coming down for Lion. Looks like she is going to spend her Innovate here. It's way too high value at this point. Now she's committed to 4 mana, complete the quest, and draw the extra card of the Crystal Merchant. No way that Innovate was not happening this turn.
From bloodyface's side, he's still looking for that evolve. Every single turn where he doesn't get it is so big against Quest Druid, because it feels like against Quest Druid in the early game, the earlier you get stuff down, it matters so much more. Like, if you get it down on 2 out of 4 or 3 out of 4, suddenly the Druid has to wait a whole nother turn before their quest is complete to do anything.
Yep.
So having to do it after their quest is complete, suddenly they get access to stuff like Starfall, Hidden Oasis, even Nourish or Oasis Circuit. The earlier you can get that, the significantly better it gets.
Yeah, for sure. I think bloodyface is already struggling a little bit here because ideally he would have liked to have been significantly ahead by this portion of the game. He'd like to be forcing pressure, making Lion have the response with the Starfall or the Oasis Surger over the next couple of turns. And bloodyface has just managed to gain control about at the right time, but he would have loved to have just got a little bit more early chip damage in up to this point.
Well, the one other thing to talk about is the fact that Desert Hare with the quest becomes so much more powerful.
Yeah.
When you go Hero Power Desert Hare, you summon 5 3-drops. So if he top decked and evolved this specific turn, I think he still was very much in the game, if not actually in the lead.
Yep, I would agree with that. As it stands, he's just going to have to make do with the vanilla Quest Shaman gameplay. Hero Power 1-drop, draw 2 lackeys. Funny world we live in where that now feels underpowered compared to what Desert Hare Evolve can do.
Well, this Ethereal Lackey can actually find an evolve. It's not likely to find it, but it's a pretty high chance.
Yeah, I believe 1 in 11 for any individual spell. So if you want to include Mutate in there as well, obviously they're then doubling your chances. But also there's all kinds of things like Soul of the Murloc, etc. that can still pay off huge with big wide board states. So there's a lot of things that you can leverage in that Desert Hare position.
That Anubisath is pretty important for Lion. It lets her go Nourish this turn if she really wanted to, without overdrawing a card.
Yeah, starting the turn with 8, so we'll go to exactly 10 off the Nourish. Would have the guaranteed Anubisath to drop. She just wants to take the full tempo swing here instead, though, which I can definitely respect. I mean, she didn't really have anything to do with the 2 extra mana if she didn't pick something up off the Nourish to be able to play there, so seems reasonable to me.
I find it a bit interesting because Hidden Oasis is just such a powerful card when you let your opponent like take a couple turns to hit you.
That's fair. Yeah.
If I had to choose what to do there, I feel like Nourish is just so critical to the Quest Druid game plan. You know, accelerating your mana base, and especially in Malygos Druid, where you have to do so many things to get that combo off.
Yep. And the more I look at it now, I mean, this is results world for sure, but bloodyface has now found an evolve off that Ethereal Lackey, as you were talking about. So with Lion now a Starfall down, she might really struggle to interact with this Desert Hare board that's about to be created from bloodyface, because this is the point of the game where Lion would like to have, for example, Loti plus Starfall to be able to have a decent chance of fighting back against a big evolve board, but she has nothing of the sort. Looks like bloodyface is trying to call for some attention here.
Yep, it looks like he's calling for the admin.
Hopefully nothing too serious. He does seem to be able to continue playing his turn at the very least. There we go. Hopefully we can get this sorted out, whatever it is, as soon as possible.
From bloodyface's perspective, I imagine that the evolve is always coming out here. That's like pretty obvious.
Yep. With the mutate as well, he has the option to take the rebuy if he gets anything particularly unattractive that he doesn't want. For example, one of those Twilight Drakes. He did get the Sapper as well, which is actually a pretty powerful option, particularly in the Shaman Mirror. That can be incredibly swingy, where both players are trying to load up enormous amounts of board tension.
But is it? Maybe it just allows Lion to bounce back her Coon the Forgotten King.
Oh my goodness, you are so right. Is this 3-5 able to be... It's not able to be traded off into anything right now, though, is the problem.
You could take a 50-50.
That's really interesting. I hadn't even looked at that. I would kind of argue that the 7-7 on the board is worth quite a lot in the situation, though. I think when you look at the way this turn is playing out with the Oasis Surger and the swipe, I think just the full tempo swing here makes a lot of sense. And honestly, bouncing one of these surges back to hand is perfectly reasonable as well in this spot.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think this actively benefits Lion. Even if it doesn't bounce the Coon back to hand, I think as long as it hits a Surger or the Coon, she's going to get huge value out of that.
Yep. Even if the Anubisat gets sent back, it gets sent back as a 3-1 and will then cost 0 again at some point in the near future. There's really no bad outcome here for Lion on the rebuy. Just a free Oasis Surger. Gets value out of it, half of it stays on the board, and she just gets to do it again on a following turn. Huge turn for Lion. You have to say a very unfortunate set of rolls for Bloodyface. 2 Twilight Drakes, one of the absolute low rolls in the 4-mana slot, and a card that kind of actively punished him in that spot, even though it is usually quite a high roll off the Evolve.
This Evolve pickup for Bloodyface is going to be so important. He gets to evolve this 2-1 into a random 5-drop, along with a lot of other minions. There's a world where Bloodyface gets something like an Earth Elemental instead of an Eager Underling.
Yep. Earth Elemental, the absolute nuts in the 5-mana slot. Not allowing for, special conditions where maybe Ziliax might be superior if you're in desperate need of healing or whatever, but just in the cold hard vacuum, Earth Elemental is the one you're looking for on the 5-mana slot.
Against Quest Druid, stats in play is generally what matters.
Yep. Looks like Bloodyface is fully back and raring to go. Glad he got whatever that was cleared up. Trying to generate pressure any way he can. You were saying you were expecting the Evolve to come down that turn. Bloodyface decided differently.
He's possibly saving it for the second Desert Hare. Maybe this board just isn't enough, and he needs to fight back with another key card off the top of his deck. I think that makes a lot of sense.
One thing that would concern me, though, is that slow playing here, even a little bit, there's an Oasis Surger in hand, like bare minimum, right? So that one Oasis Surger that your opponent has already answers over 50% of your board state in this position.
Oh, I mean, the Druid is in such a good spot right now.
Yeah.
I think Bloodyface is afforded one more turn here to maybe rip that Desert Hare and get something very powerful.
Okay. We will wait and see, because we are fast approaching the position where Druid is going to make some pretty unrecoverable board states. Mind Control Tech is a card that would be potentially coming into play here if available.
Is not the card.
Evil Totem is absolutely not the card. I believe one MCT has already been played from Bloodyface's side, but he is playing that second copy. With 4 Rush minions in play, Mind Control Tech is a pretty effective card.
Shutterwalk was the draw. Desert Hare was the draw. This hand is just dead.
Yep. Outside of that, like Barista or some other value generator, like a Novice Engineer, like something just to get some action going in his hand.
Even Barista wasn't that powerful. It would
Right.
lead with Bloodyface going something like Goblin Lackey, Weaponized Wasp, Barista.
Yeah.
You can't really do much with that. I feel like from Bloodyface's perspective, he's got one turn to deal with as much of the board as possible, try to get a Shutterwalk. If he doesn't get a Shutterwalk next turn, or even maybe a Desert Hare could call him back at least one more turn, I think it's just going to run away from him.
Fair enough. Finding it very difficult to argue with that assessment. Bloodyface is looking very much in trouble right now. Is there any better feeling while playing Druid than hidden oasising your own minion for a value trade, Gallon?
What about hidden oasising your minion to go face?
That might actually be it. Yeah, you might have found it. I take your point. It's a good point, well made. I was going to say, there is no way that heals face, right? There was a brief arrow being pointed at the face, but yeah, absolutely take the value out of the minion.
Yeah.
And there it is, Lion with the disrespect, playing the alpha. Full damage to face. There is that Mind Control Tech on exactly the wrong turn for Bloodyface.
Bloodyface has one way to stay alive here. You Bloodlust, you trade the 3-3 into the 6-6, the 1-1 into the 5-1, and you just gotta hope that the next card is Shutterwalk.
I wonder.
Shutterwalk right now for Bloodyface, generates a few lackeys, plays Mind Control Tech once, will play it twice if he plays the Mind Control Tech this turn as well. summons some Desert Hares, but outside of that, it's not really doing a great deal. It's not like it's building a board for him. A little bit of healing from the Life Drinker that he's played as well.
I wonder.
Lion has gotten herself to such a favorable position from this point.
Yep. Bloodyface going to stare long and hard at the board state, but I kind of agree with Gallon's assessment that 6-6 has got to go down, and Bloodyface only has one way to do it.
His hand is just forced.
Yep. Unless he's considering Evolve outs and just whether, you know, it's worth saving a Bloodlust, but I think Evolve is just a better card to have in his hand than Bloodlust at this point. Play the MCT because your out is top decking Shudderwock next turn, so you might as well just play all the battle cries you can before you get there. This worthy expedition can have so many blowouts this turn. Tending Tauren isn't a bad one.
Mark of Nature just to push extra damage. Tending Tauren is probably the play, though.
Yeah, with the Loti curve, it's just so nice, right?
Well, one thing to worry about with War Druid Loti Tending Tauren is that you actually give your opponent maybe an out with Shudderwock.
You raise a good point. You raise a very, very good point. So I would not be surprised to see this Loti attack. Yes, Lion was very clearly aware of this situation in the previous series as well. If there's any danger of your Loti getting mind control teched, attack with it. That way, if it does get stolen, you're at least able to deal with it on your turns because it's visible once it gets stolen away. 8 drops are powerful, but they ain't that powerful, Bloodyface.
Lion is going to go up 2-0 with some commanding Malygos Druid play.
Whew! One game away from making history on so many levels here for Lion. Bloodyface finds himself right up against it, but Lion now is just staring history in the face. You know, certainly in Hearthstone history, she would be the first woman to get an achievement of this magnitude under her belt, and also, of course, carrying the hopes of the China region on her back as well. We have not had the China representative. All three of the others, Americas, Europe, APAC, they all have a world champion to their name, while China does not. So she can be the first on multiple different levels to make this achievement if she's able to pick up the crown.
And I mean, this, again, I just want to point this out. It's just so incredible that she is currently 10-0 over her last 10 tournament games.
Yep.
Like, she got 7-0 at the Gold Series Finals to get here against the best players in China. Every single player that she's fought in this tournament has been one of the best from their region. She's currently 3-0 against them. She's up 2-0 versus Bloodyface, and should very easily be 4-0 in this tournament.
We can keep going, like even before that, we can go back in time further, and she had a 2nd place and a 4th place, and essentially the China equivalents of what we have as Masters tours.
Which is almost equally as ridiculous.
Yeah, which is, you know, as good a record as anyone has in their respective region on this side of the globe anyway. So she has had complete dominance, really. You know, she might have put her feet up for Season 2 because her work was already done in Season 1 getting here to qualify. You know, we saw that from Bunny Hopper, for example, last year, who did something very similar in our system through the European region. So she is on an incredible streak, and right now it really doesn't look like anyone is able to stop her.
Yeah, I mean, she's about to go 4-0, and you know what happens when you go 4-0 at the Global Finals?
What is that, Gallon?
You become the Global Finals champion, win $200,000, and mark your name in Hearthstone's history. Should be exciting.
I mean, it would be more than exciting. It would be groundbreaking. It would be record-setting. It would be an incredible achievement for Lion. But now she has picked up the wins with her Druid and with her Shaman, which leaves her, I believe, just with this Hunter left to win with, her one-off unique deck in the lineup. She's the only player in this tournament, I believe, to bring Highlander Hunter, and so far it has looked like it has performed pretty well for her.
Yeah, I mean, Highlander decks in general are just something that we have not seen that much in this tournament. We've seen a lot of Shaman, we've seen a lot of Priest, we've seen actually a lot of Druid as well, but Highlander decks, Highlander Paladin and Highlander Hunter, have just not appeared that much on the big stage. I'll be interested to see how she pilots it. I think we saw a game from her yesterday, and she piloted it very well against Combo Priest. Just kind of like leading the Priest into these awkward scenarios and then finishing it with this huge and powerful swing turn.
I did really enjoy that matchup, which I believe was against Fino you were talking about yesterday, right? Where her secret choices looked unusual, but they were played in positions where she was being given respect for pressure play and rat trap and freezing trap, which are the good secrets, but she was getting it by playing the bad secrets, which meant that she was getting multiple values of the same secret out of just playing the wrong ones and essentially getting bluff equity. So I think she has piloted the deck very effectively. I've got on record personally about how weak I think the secrets are, but Lion is teaching us all a lesson or two about how to navigate through some of these decks. We are going to have to take a very quick break before we get into the action here, but you do not want to go anywhere because Lion one game away from making history.
BlizzCon 2019 is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of BlizzCon. Facebook Gaming, a world of play. Samsung SSD, performance gamers trust. Corsair, do your thing. And by NVIDIA.
Our heroes can't fly, they fall like shooting stars. Will anyone survive? Dragons take flight above the ice and snow, high in the sky where the cold wind blows. Wings feet down as they beat back foes, flaming hot fire over frozen bones. Good unites against people they oppose. They ride or die as the legends grow. We must don't choose sides, feelings are heroes. There are no silence in this combat zone. Beats midair, yeah, it's a chiller. Life and death, yeah, it's a killer. They go round and round as the beat down pounds. Aerial thrills, yeah, it's a thriller. The sky's filled with trauma and all of this drama, pretending and impending it. Crash down. It's dragons and giants descend.
Welcome back to BlizzCon 2019. We are potentially here on the advent of history, as Lion is a single game of Hearthstone away from being the first woman to reach the pinnacle of competitive Hearthstone. Standing in her way is bloodyface, one of the strongest players, from our home region here, I guess, of the Americas. Has a lot of local support behind him, but he is up against it right now because he finds himself 0-2 down, and he also finds himself in a position where he has lost a favorable matchup previously in the series, which now really puts him up against it overall.
Now, that being said, Lion's last deck remaining is Highlander Hunter, and if I had to put a marker on this, I think that it's unfavored for the remaining 3 decks from Bloodyface. Bloodyface has Evolve Shaman, which I think is a very unfavored matchup, Quest Druid, which is actually pretty favored matchup for Hunter, and then Warrior, which is an unfavored matchup.
So you say, on average, it's unfavored against the decks that it's going to come up against, is what
Let
you're
me
saying.
rephrase that.
I was going to say, it got a little bit wishy-washy there in the middle. I'm going to be honest. I tried to save it, but go ahead.
So, well, one of the things about it is that she is running the Secret Hunter package, which means that the Secret package is very weak versus Druid, and I think it's also very weak versus Warrior as well. She's not running the Mech package, which is something that we've seen do very well, like aka Zalay Hunter, which was established like the last couple of weeks of Season 2 of Grandmasters.
He's out there somewhere. Somewhere in the crowd, one guy just got super hype, and that guy's name is Zalay.
The Secret package works very well versus Priest. And that's what we've seen it been queued into quite a bit in the past couple days. But otherwise, I don't think it's really going to accomplish what Lion wants in Druid and Warrior. However, she still has the power cards like Zephyr. She still has the power cards like Tiamat plus Ragnaros plus the Dino Tamer Brand plus Call of the Wild plus Zul'jin. Pretty much a lot of still really good stuff. However, that early game I think is going to be a little bit lacking.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with that, and it was a point I did want to raise because she has shown a lot of faith in this Highlander Hunter, in protecting it in previous series, and seemingly quite happily queuing it into Priest. That seemed to be one of the reasons why this deck was here, one of the reasons why, as you say, she was going with the secret version as opposed to Zalay Hunter. But in this series, she banned away Bloodyface's Priest, leaving herself with this Hunter still available, which is super interesting to me, the way that there's perhaps a little bit of a diversion here coming into the finals.
I mean, I think from Lion's perspective, it makes a bit of sense. She really wants to play Druid in this series, and if she leaves the Priest up, that's a really bad matchup for her.
It sure is, but she has a very reasonable matchup ahead of her. I don't think she could have asked for an awful lot more. Again, she is on the doorstep of history here, one game away from taking home $200,000 in prizing, taking home the title of the global champion.
And in the best possible position she could possibly be in this game, I think. She has a 1-drop, she has Zephyr, she is on the play versus Quest Druid. All of those things are so good.
So let me ask you the question. Is being on the play and therefore being the aggressor, is that better than denying the Quest Druid the coin by having the coin yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When you are trying to pressure the Quest Druid, if you can play things as early as possible and push damage with them, that is what matters.
1-2 curve picks up the Animal Companion. I was talking with Saiyan earlier about certain positions where you'll actually take Wild Growth as the Hunter because you have like a big greedy hand. Tiamat, I guess, is in hand already, but this did look like more of an Animal Companion curve to me. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Lion just has a 1-2-3-4 curve with the Spellbreaker. She could elect to just Spellbreaker one of her own minions, play a 4-3. That's more than enough to pressure Bloodyface's life total right now.
And speaking of pressure, the life total is indeed getting pressured here, and the curve keeps going because there is Secret into Mask Contender on 5 if nothing superior is picked up, and this damage is just going to keep on ramping up. 8 more being pushed this turn. Oh boy, this is going to add up very, very quickly if Bloodyface cannot turn the corner here.
Lion's turns are lining up pretty perfectly so far. She is missing a turn 5 and a turn 6, but even then, she still has room to pick up stuff.
How about you? This looks like a turn 5 to me. It's not a super aggressive turn 5, but it fills the curve.
A snipe pickup, I think, is also pretty impactful.
Yep. Mask Contender gonna land here. Pulling out the pressure plate is the random secret that comes out.
Is at 11, and his quest isn't even completed yet.
And he is facing down 9 damage on board, plus a hero power that deals persistent damage, plus a kill command in hand from Lion's side. And also, with pressure play in play, the Hidden Oasis does not play a 6/6 taunt. It just heals, and then the way the sequencing works, the taunt will be removed. This is getting very, very close, folks.
Unleash the Beast off the top is one of the best cards you could possibly hope for.
Does Lion ever want to start squeezing in these hero powers, though? Is there ever merit of doing that? Is there just too much healing in Druid to start going down those lines?
I think there's a lot of merit to it. Link's kill command, hero power, sets up hero power for next turn is just lethal. If you play an Unleash the Beast now, the minion will get sniped, but then the 5/1 can trade into the 5/5, and the 5/5 can trade over the 2/3.
Yep. How much of that is influenced by the fact that we are staring at 2 Oasis Surges, though? Sight unseen. Do you play around? You know, it could just as easily be looking at hands that have a Hidden Oasis in it and don't have an Oasis Surger, in which case, like, having the persistent minion damage on board is superior in that position.
Incredibly tense moment for bloodyface. Right now, the secrets are lining up pretty good for him, though.
They are, yes.
What to do?
Snipe and Pressure Plate are the 2 secrets in play right now. So no Freezing Trap, no Rat Trap that needs to be worried about, no Snake Trap that's going to add extra damage to the board as he's able to trade over. So really, the relevant secrets in this situation are all missing.
I wonder.
Potentially series-deciding implications this turn for bloodyface. It's a $100,000 play, let alone with the title of global champion on the line.
What are his other options? He could go Ferocious Howl Wrath, try to pick up a Hidden Oasis as soon as possible.
Yep. That looks like where bloodyface is going with it.
If you wanted to play this Worthy Expedition, now's the time to do it.
He does not. There is that Hidden
There is a Rat
Oasis,
Trap. Well, there's also a Rat Trap buff. If he plays the Worthy Expedition, he can easily...
There might be from his perspective.
Yes, exactly,
but
exactly.
we can see that it's Snipe and Pressure Plate, so he would get away with it. But yes, bloodyface has to play around all unknown scenarios. But Lion here gets to just go Divine Shield, Wind Fury with Tiamat, which is about the scariest thing you can do against Druid, because they have a nightmare dealing with that minion.
And Newbie Sat Defender, while normally good against these kinds of spots, doesn't even do anything here.
Just gets sniped.
The Unleash the Beast can just run over it, or the Lynx, exactly.
Yep, just gets sniped, gets hit by a 1/1, gets hit by Desert Spear. The Pressure Plate is going to remove this 6/6 taunt, as I mentioned.
The secrets are about as perfect as possible.
So that's 17 damage. That's 17 damage in play right now for Lion, which means if nothing more is added, Kill Command and Hero Power does end the game. And even if this Anubisat Defender is played, it gets sniped, which means it just dies to the Lynx from hand anyway from Lion.
I think we're in a checkmate position here.
I am not seeing it. I will give bloodyface the credit for being the player that he is to invent some kind of magical out here, but I do not see it. bloodyface has the length of this rope to perform a miracle this turn, but I do not see it, Gallon.
A newbie set defender is going to get sniped.
Lion looks up in expectation, just waiting for this turn to pass to her, and it does! 17 damage in play. Desert Spear is going to come through, and Lion becomes the first woman to reach the pinnacle of competitive Hearthstone. She is your 2019 BlizzCon champion and your 2019 global champion. Whew. What a performance, Gallon.
Absolutely. Just a commanding 3-0 in the finals, a commanding performance throughout the entire tournament, a commanding performance throughout this entire year, culminating in one of the biggest events in Hearthstone's history.
And you can see, credit to bloodyface, incredibly gracious in defeat. Fantastic sportsmanship from the defeated player, who of course deserves a lot of credit in his own right now, but look at what it means to Lion, and look at what it means to this audience as well. I think it's fair to say that she has been the crowd favorite, even though some players like bloodyface have had home field advantage from the crowd here. You can feel the energy of the crowd has been behind her the whole time, and she has so deserved everything that's come to her this tournament. Frodan, I believe, is standing by on stage. You can hear less from us and more from our champion.
A new chapter has begun in Hearthstone history. Please welcome the newest member of the Hearthstone Hall of Champion, VKLiooon. Here to present the trophy, 2019 World Champion, Casper Hunter-Race Noto. Let's get a couple of words with our winner, shall we? First, the most generic question in esports. For a moment like this, we have to ask it. Lion, you did the impossible. Everyone was watching. What is going through your head in this very moment right now?
在这一个我们见证历史的时刻，你心里有什么样的感想？所有人都在看着你。
Thank you. 在来到这里之前，我从来没有想过，没有想过，哎。有太多我需要感谢的人啊，每一个跟我练过牌的，指导过我的朋友，啊，还有甚至都不玩炉石，但是却还在我人生中这么重要的时刻，然后放下一切来支持我的朋友，然后。
It never occurred to me that I could have achieved this far. And I want to thank everyone who has practiced with me and who has been supporting me. Even though they don't even play Hearthstone, they would come watch my play. So I'm really thankful. Thank you, everyone.
The first thing that she does when she does a historic achievement is thank the fans and everyone supporting her. What a heartwarming statement. Another question. Everyone's talking about how this is a landmark moment for women everywhere who compete. What does it mean to you to become the champion on this stage in this very moment as the first woman to do it?
Can I tell a story?
I got time. Does everyone have time here? Do you want to listen to a story?
记得在2年多以前，我第一次参加炉石的比赛，然后当时我得到了替补的资格，然后当我去替补的时候，因为名额已经不多了，然后当时就有一个男生他对我喊，女生就不要来替补了，然后我想。所以我想现在就是最好的证明，也如果有跟我一样，喜欢炉石或者是任何其他的游戏，如果你想有梦想想赢，那么就不要在意其他任何的声音。你一定可以的。
Like 2 years ago, I remember when I was competing in a huge tournament, I was waiting in line for backup signups, and there is this guy telling me that if you're a girl, you should not wait in line here. It's not for you. And now today, I'm here with all the support from the fans. So I want to say to all the girls out there who have a dream for esports, for competition, for glory, if you want to do it and you believe in yourself, you should just forget your gender and go for it.
Absolutely incredible. Hey, I bet that guy feels real dumb right around now. Let's wrap this up. Lion, what would you like to say? The whole world is watching. All of your fans and family and friends back at home watching, what would you like to say to everyone else here as your final words and the beginning of your tenure as a champion?
就是请最后对所有支持你的粉丝、你的朋友、关心你的人，或者不认识但是现在在这里的人，说一句你心里想说的话。
就谢谢所有。不管是在现场还是在看直播的，然后所有，就是所有支持过我的人，你们的，还有现场的工作人员，就是每一个人的，鼓励对我来说都，意义很大。
Okay. First of all, I want to thank all the fans who showed up here supporting me, no matter whether you're watching online or here. Thank you very much. And I also want to thank all the hardworking people who made this happen. It's an epic show.
Your Hearthstone Grandmasters Global Finals champion, VKLiooon! They said it was unlikely. They said it was too difficult. They said you should just give up. But the woman defying all the odds stands before you today. Join me in one last congratulations for Lion. It's been a wonderful weekend of Hearthstone, and it's just the beginning. We've heard the legendary tales of all of these card singers that have joined us in the tavern, and the only question is, when will you join us in the tavern? Qualifiers begin for Masters Tour in 2020 and even further beyond, and we couldn't be more excited to say there's always another seat So come grab a table at the tavern. Thank you for watching BlizzCon. Good night, and we'll see you next time for more Hearthstone action.